Six-figure salaries starting around $100,000, with top cybersecurity professionals earning $200,000 to $400,000 plus per year. Over 3.5 million cybersecurity roles are currently unfilled worldwide. Cybersecurity has become one of the fastest-growing and most in-demand careers in technology. Yet most people have no clear idea how to break into it. Getting into cybersecurity might seem intimidating at first, especially with all the talk about hackers, coding, and advanced tools. But the truth is, it's one of the most beginner-friendly tech fields to enter if you approach it the right way. You don't need to be a genius, and you definitely don't need to know everything up front. What you do need is curiosity, consistency, and a willingness to learn step by step. In this video, I'll break down exactly how you can go from zero experience to building real cybersecurity skills that actually matter in the industry. First, it's important to understand what cybersecurity actually is. At its core, cybersecurity is about protecting computers, networks, and data from unauthorized access, damage, or attacks. Think of it like digital security guards for the internet. Every time you log into your bank account, send a message, or browse a website, cybersecurity systems are working in the background to keep things safe. The field itself is huge, covering areas like ethical hacking, network security, cloud security, incident response, and more. The good news is, you don't have to learn everything at once. You just need to build a strong foundation first. That foundation starts with understanding how computers and networks actually work. Before you can protect a system, you need to understand what you're protecting. Learn the basics of networking. Things like IP addresses, DNS, routers, HTTP and HTTPS, and how data moves across the internet. A simple way to think about it is this. The internet is just a giant postal system, and networking is understanding how letters get from one house to another. Once you understand that flow, cybersecurity starts making a lot more sense. Next, you want to get comfortable with operating systems, especially Windows and Linux. Windows is important because it's widely used in businesses, and Linux is extremely important because a lot of servers and security tools run on it. You don't need to become a system administrator, but you should know how to navigate files, use the command line, install software, and understand basic permissions. Linux in particular is very popular in cybersecurity because it gives you more control and visibility into what's happening under the hood. After that, you should start learning basic cybersecurity concepts. This includes things like malware, phishing, firewalls, encryption, and authentication. For example, malware is malicious software designed to damage or steal data, while phishing is when attackers trick people into giving away passwords or sensitive information. Firewalls act like digital barriers that control what traffic is allowed in or out of a system. These concepts might sound technical at first, but once you see real-world examples, they become much easier to understand. Now comes the most important part, hands-on practice. Cybersecurity is not something you learn just by watching videos. You have to actually do it. This is where platforms like TryHackMe and HackTheBox are incredibly useful. They give you safe, legal environments where you can practice real cybersecurity scenarios. You might learn how attackers exploit systems, how to find vulnerabilities, or how to defend against simulated attacks. This is where everything starts to click because you're applying what you've learned instead of just reading about it. As you progress, start building something to show your skills. This could be a small home lab where you install virtual machines and practice security setups, or it could be documenting what you learn on GitHub or a blog. You don't need anything fancy. What matters is showing that you're actively learning and experimenting. In cybersecurity, practical proof often matters more than certificates alone, especially when you're starting out. Speaking of certificates, they can also help later on. Beginner-friendly ones like CompTIA Security Plus and CCNA are often recommended once you have some basics down. But don't rush into certifications too early. Focus first on understanding and practice, Then use certifications to validate your knowledge. Finally, remember that cybersecurity is a long-term journey, not a quick skill you master in a few weeks. Everyone in the field started as a beginner at some point. The key is consistency, learning a little every day, practicing regularly, and staying curious when things feel complex. If you stick with it, you'll slowly go from learning definitions to actually thinking like someone who can defend systems in the real world. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to help with the YouTube algorithm.